Welcome back, deep divers. Ready to go a little deeper.
Always up for a deep dive.
Let's do it.
All right, so today we're taking another look at the platform. But buckle up, because we're not just hitting replay, we're going back in time with El Hoyo 2, the prequel.
Yeah, this one's a bit of a mind bender, a prequel that really makes you think, how did things get so messed up?
No kidding. I mean, the platform was already pretty intense, but this one digs even deeper.
Right into the heart of the abyss.
Exactly. So for those who haven't seen it recently or, blocked it from their memory,
Happens to the best of us.
the platform gave us this horrifying vertical prison, right? With a platform loaded with food that descends each day. Problem is, by the time it reaches the lower levels, well, let's just say there's not much left.
It's more like a battle royale for scraps, a
Yeah.
brutal display of what happens when humanity's pushed to the brink.
Exactly. And El Hoyo 2 doesn't just show us the symptoms, it takes us back to the source, like asking, how did this whole twisted system even come to be? And believe me, the answers are way more disturbing than you might imagine.
It makes you think about, what kind of society would create a prison like this? It's not just about punishment, right? It feels symbolic, almost biblical even.
Oh yeah, the symbolism is definitely there. 333 levels. 2 people per level. Add it up. That's 666 souls trapped in this pressure cooker of despair.
Wow, I never even put that together.
The filmmakers definitely want us thinking about heaven, hell, and who ends up where. It's not exactly subtle, but it's effective.
Chills, man, chills.
Right.
Okay, so I've got this pressure cooker prison, potential damnation on the menu. Where do the characters fit into all of this? And I gotta say, seeing Trimagasi back for round 2, well, let's just say he's not looking any more optimistic.
Oh man, Trimagasi. Talk about a blast from the past.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he's back with a vengeance, which, considering how he ended up in the first film, is really saying something.
Seriously, I mean, how much worse can it get? Seeing him in the prequel is like, I don't know, watching a train wreck in slow motion. You know it's coming.
Yeah.
You can't look away.
It's brutal. But it also makes you wonder, is he a product of the whole? Or was he always this way? Did the system create this monster? Or simply unleash him?
Man, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it's not just him, right? We've got a whole cast of characters grappling with this horrific reality. We've got Perempuan, who brings a whole new layer of complexity to the story.
Oh, yeah. Perempuan, she's interesting. An artist haunted by guilt, carrying around this sculpture of a dog that symbolizes her past. She's like a walking embodiment of the struggle for redemption.
It's like she's desperately searching for a way to hold on to her humanity in a place that seems designed to strip it away.
Exactly. And her story makes you question, is redemption even possible in a place like the Hole? Is it even worth striving for when everyone around you is just fighting to survive?
Yeah, it's heavy stuff. And then there's Baharat, who represents this raw, desperate yearning for escape. He's literally climbing a rope, clinging to hope in this hopeless place.
He's the embodiment of that little voice inside all of us that refuses to give up, even when everything seems stacked against us. That glimmer of what if in the darkest of times.
Right, there's got to be a way out. I just got to keep climbing. And then, of course, you've got the administrator of this whole messed up system, Dagan Bobby, who, ironically enough, is blind.
Yeah, and that blindness, whether it's physical or metaphorical, is the filmmaker's way of criticizing those in power, right? Those who are either blind to the suffering they inflict or simply choose to ignore it.
Oh, hold on. Are you saying they're intentionally blind? That they choose not to see the consequences of their actions?
Well, it's definitely something to think about, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the Whole doesn't shy away from asking those tough questions.
Yeah.
About the nature of power, about the systems we create, and about the very human cost of maintaining them. It's like they're living in a different world, detached from the consequences of their actions.
A world where they never have to face the hunger, the desperation.
Or the sheer terror of knowing that your survival depends on whether or not the people above you are feeling particularly greedy that day. And speaking of which, we can't talk about the Whole without addressing the elephant, or rather the empty plate, in the room.
The food. Right. I mean, it's more than just sustenance in this film. It's like this twisted symbol of everything that's wrong with their society.
Absolutely. That descending platform, overflowing with culinary delights at the top, by the time it reaches the lower levels, it's just this cruel reminder of what they're missing, of what they'll never have.
And that anxiety, that gnawing fear of not knowing if you're going to get enough, I mean, that's going to mess with your head, right?
Oh, absolutely. It taps into this primal fear, this deep-seated anxiety that we all have about scarcity. Even if we've never experienced true hunger, There's this innate fear of not having enough.
Exactly. It's like those late night worries about paying bills, putting food on the table for your family. The whole just amplifies those fears, throws them in your face, and makes you confront them head on.
Yeah, it's like the filmmakers are holding up a mirror to our own anxieties about the future, about
Yeah.
the fragility of the systems we rely on.
Right, like what if everything we take for granted, the food, the shelter, the security, what if it all just vanished?
It's a terrifying thought, but one that El Hoyo 2 forces us to confront.
Okay, so we've talked about the characters, the symbolism, the sheer existential dread of it all. But what about that ending? Because I gotta say, it left me with more questions than answers.
Yeah, that ending is a real head scratcher. It's like the filmmakers deliberately left it open to interpretation, daring us to come up with our own conclusions.
Right, on the surface, it seems to be about sacrifice. But it also makes you question, can any act truly be selfless in a system that's so inherently broken?
And even if it is selfless, will it actually change anything in the grand scheme of things?
Hmm.
Will it be enough to break the cycle, or is it just a drop in the ocean?
It's like, did that final act of defiance, of selflessness, did it actually achieve anything? Or was it all for nothing?
And that ambiguity, that lingering uncertainty, that's what makes El Hoyo 2 so damn unsettling. It doesn't offer easy answers, no tidy resolutions. You walk out of the theater or, turn off your TV,
Yeah.
and you're left grappling with these huge existential questions.
Exactly. It's like the filmmakers are saying, we're not going to spoon feed you the answers. You've got to sit with the discomfort, wrestle with the implications, and figure it out for yourself. It's like they ripped our brains out, tossed them in a blender, and hit puree.
And you know what? I kind of love them for it.
It's a weird kind of love, but I get it. But seriously, where does that leave us? What are we supposed to take away from all of this?
Well, if El Hoyo 2 has taught us anything, it's that there are no easy answers. It's not about finding solutions, it's about asking the right questions,
Yeah.
about taking a long, hard look at ourselves and the world we've created.
Ooh, okay, getting deep here. So what you're saying is the real horror isn't the prison itself, it's the realization that we might be more complicit in its creation than we'd like to admit.
Exactly. It's like the film is holding up a mirror and saying, hey, if you were in that situation, how would you react? Would you be the hero or the villain of your own story?
Would you cling to your morals, or would you become the very thing you swore you'd never be?
Precisely. And the truly unsettling part is there's no way to know for sure until we're faced with that kind of impossible choice.
So it's not about judging the characters, it's about judging ourselves, about having the courage to be honest about our own capacity for both good and evil.
It's about acknowledging the darkness, the potential for cruelty and selfishness that exists within all of us.
And maybe, just maybe, recognizing that darkness is the first step toward choosing a different path.
Exactly. Because the world we create, the systems we perpetuate, they're all a reflection of our individual choices.
Okay, I don't know about you, but I am feeling a lot of things right now.
Yeah. Me both. But hey, that's the power of a film like El Hoyo 2, right? It stays with you long after the credits roll, forces you to think, to question, to confront some uncomfortable truths. And on that note, deep divers, we've reached the bottom of today's abyss.
Until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and most importantly, stay hungry for those deep dives that challenge us to be better, think harder, and never, ever stop questioning.